Who is the team to beat, in your opinion?
The defending champs, the Boston Celtics. Until you beat the man, you can't be the man. And they are that team. And maybe they're playing with their food a little bit this season. But we know when it comes time for winning, they have proven they can do it.
Monica, what team should everyone be worried about, in your opinion?
Worry is an interesting word. I think everybody knows this, though. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a bona fide MVP candidate. This team is top 10 offensive and defensive rating. They are the real deal. Obviously, Jalen Williams, his running mate, he was also just an all-star. These role players are excelling. They're getting healthy. Chet Holmgren's back on the field, and Isaiah Hartenstein has changed their interior defense significantly.
Okay, so Alan, after the the trade, it are the Lakers, Luka's team right now.
LeBron James still alive. He's still playing basketball. He'll probably be playing basketball long when we're all gone. It is not Luka's team because it is not his team yet because LeBron James is still there. This is his team. Now, Luka can certainly fit in or fit out or whatever it is that LeBron told him to do. But the bottom line is when LeBron is on the team, it's his team. They have to figure out how to make it work together, and that's going to be a fascinating story to watch.
You know, I thought it was interesting but when AD was there, LeBron said, I'm deferring to him. This should be his team. Yeah, so I guess the question is, who should be the alpha on this team right now?
Again, LeBron's the alpha. If you say something like that in the huddle to a player, that's you letting him know, letting Luka know, go ahead and be you. I'm allowing it. So that's what an alpha does. This is my team, but I'm allowing you to play your way. He will control. This is his ecosystem, and Luka has to figure out how he can play within it.
Who do you think should be the alpha?
We are going to make ourselves sick with this conversation.
Yeah.
Look, I think this is absolutely fluid, right? Sure, in leadership and established tenure, it's LeBron James. But on a night-to-night basis, obviously the future of this thing is about Luka Doncic. So it just really depends on what you're talking about. The leadership, organizational element of this, or who's going to be taking the lead as far as hooping. I think LeBron James is going to lean into the facilitating side of his game, and he's been fantastic at that. Luka, to me, moving forward, is probably going to be the alpha, but it will alternate for sure.
Two of the highest usage players in NBA history. So they're both used to having the basketball in their hands and running it. Now, what they can learn from is what happened in Dallas last year. Kyrie gets there. Kyrie also a high-usage player. So the two of them figured out how to work. And a lot of times you'll stagger. Luka will be on the floor, LeBron not, giving him rest. And then Luka can be, obviously, the main piece out there. But when it's LeBron's team, when he's on the team, it's still his team. And he will decide whether or not Luka, is the man or not in certain situations. But one thing you have to keep in mind, if you're Luka Doncic, pressure's on. Because when things go well, it's LeBron James. When things don't go well, it's on you.
Okay, so what do you think LeBron has to do to make this thing successful?
I continue to empower Luka, probably. I get that this is so fascinating when you look at their skill sets, when you look at the usage, but I just think, simply put, these are two of the greatest basketball players in the league, right? They're going to figure it out. The issue for me around this squad is not necessarily with this pairing, it's about the rest of that roster. And so I think LeBron fully understands. You mentioned his history with AD. I think he fully understands how to empower his running mate. He understands everything about the game, right? So I'm not really worried about that. Now, where there's opportunity to learn, especially if you believe everything coming out of Dallas, is off the court in terms of preparation.
Okay, so then what does Luka need to do for this thing to be successful?
Yeah, again, he needs to learn how to exist within the ecosystem that's going to be LeBron James. And that's a great point that Monica brings up because I think everybody's going to be watching Luka Doncic, not just for what he does on the floor. We know what he does on the floor. It's everything else. That calf thing, does that keep coming up? Conditioning, can you get into shape? Can you play defense? Because number one, they're not big enough, and teams are going to attack you, taking advantage of the fact that you aren't big enough. But they're also going to find you like the Celtics did in the finals, and you can't escape. When teams search you out on defense to wear you down because your conditioning isn't where it belongs and you're suddenly exhausted. The Celtics exposed him in the finals, and it is something that once you get to real games, you're going to start seeing, especially the playoff series, you're going to see teams doing it more and more. And that's something, if you're LeBron James, you're not going to tolerate. The one thing they have with Anthony Davis is they did get defense from him. But with Luka, that's going to be the biggest question is how much does his game and what he does to get ready for games and compete, how much does he evolve because of LeBron's influence? All things to watch.
Listen, we're going to talk a whole lot more about the NBA and, of course, the Lakers in this show. Time for a little segment we call Believe It or Not. Monica McNutt, Celtics will flip that switch and win the East, believe it or not.
So, I believe the first part of this one. I don't believe necessarily the latter part. I'm not sure that they're tripping over chasing down that #1 seed, but I do think that there's an uptick coming as they prepare for the postseason. I mean, this is the experience of this group. They have looked a little less than focused at points this season, but I do think that Joe Mazzulla is going to have this group gearing up.
Okay, Alan, are the Celtics the best team in the Eastern Conference right now?
Absolutely they are, and it's because they have all their weapons. They have a good bench. They have the experience now of winning a championship, which for them was the important piece, that they can get over the hump, that they could prove they could do it, which was the only thing that was chasing this group around. They're batting the bunny right now during the regular season. It's what we see sometimes from defending champs. But when it comes down to it, if they get the 2 seed, do they care in the conference finals if they play the Cavs, that they have to be on the road for a game? Absolutely not.
Okay,
Adding
Alan.
the bunny?
I know. How about that? I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah,
Alan, what about the Sixers? Do they need a franchise reset? Believe it or not.
I mean, seriously, like this, in Philadelphia, they've got to hope that that meteor hits sooner rather than later. With all that they have invested in Embiid and in Paul George, they got to blow this thing up. They can't, though. They got over $300 million over the next 3 years, not in this year, over the next 3 years, invested in 2 players that they can't keep on the court. And one of them in Joel Embiid that has decided that he's going to do what he wants to do, which includes playing in how they let him play in the Olympics makes no sense whatsoever. That he shows up out of shape and he can't play during the regular season because he wanted to play in the Olympics. They've got problems there that they can't solve. What?
Go ahead.
Oh, where's the lie?
No.
Where's the lie?
There is no lie. Honest to God, I have a headache this morning over some other things, but this is just taking it to another level.
Yeah.
But there's no lie. The Paul George deal is what, $162 million, and he'll be 35.
It's not great.
35 through 37.
Yes. A player option at 37, which you know he's going to take the option.
Our friend Jeff Saturday, if I could just channel him, believe it. Okay. What are the options though, right? Like, yeah, everybody's like detonate, destruct.
It's Maxi's team, but it can't be Maxi's team with Joel Embiid there. And, again, with him around, you always have the specter of, hey, if he can just stay healthy. But, of course, we all know that you can never finish that sentence because he's never there.
Especially when you talk about playoff time. Finally, Monica, how about the Cavs?
Extra dig, VC.
Are they legit title contenders, believe it or not?
Yes, people, pay attention to the Cleveland Cavaliers as a team. Shout out to Himbo for this stat. As a team, they are flirting with 50-40 on their splits. 49.3 from the field, 39.3 from the three-point line. They are a well-oiled machine. They both defend with those Twin Towers. Jared Allen, you can make the case that he also should have been an all-star with the other 3 teammates that made it there. They defend and they score at a high level. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, pick whoever you want in terms of having an all-star breakout sort of caliber season, but Kenny Atkinson is stirring the drink just so. They are a legitimate threat.
Well, because you guys are so familiar with the Knicks, I want you guys to take a look at something. Cindy, if you can bring up B33.
Cindy, Cindy get
Cindy, no B33.
Yes.
We don't need to. It's too early for this.
You talk about Eastern Conference contenders, but they got to start proving themselves against the best teams. They are 0-5 against the top 3 teams in the NBA. I'm talking Celtics, Thunder, and Cavs. They're going to get tested right away after the break because they play Cleveland on Friday. They got Boston on Sunday. So I guess the question here is, Monica, what must the Knicks prove to everyone to be considered contenders?
Man, so the offense is high-powered, right? Second-ranked offense in the league, Karl-Anthony Towns, and I am not one who usually is putting pressure on years when a team, the first year when a team adds a superstar. But this offense has just been fantastic. Defensively, they've got to grow. Now, part of that starts with them getting healthy. Mitchell, OG Anunoby obviously had an injury prior to the All-Star break, so he's got to get healthy as well. But the numbers in terms of when you talk about champions in the NBA, there's only been like 3 times where a team outside of the top 10 in terms of defensive efficiency eventually going on to become the champion. So the defense has some room to grow, but I do think step one, Hahn, is them getting healthy in terms of that.
I can jump off that because, you're putting a lot of anticipation on one player, Mitchell Robinson, who's had a hard time staying healthy. But when he is healthy, he could be a difference maker. To say, though, that their championship aspirations rest with him, it's saying a lot. Now, this is a high-efficiency offense, like you mentioned. They have a defensive-minded coach. You would think they could figure it out if they do get healthy. But here's your problem, matchup-wise, as we talked about. They have struggle against these teams. The Knicks are 30th in the league in defending the 3. The Celtics, that's what they do. So there's one problem. The Cavaliers run pick and roll more than any other team in the league. No one runs pick and roll. Like the Knicks are the one team that faces pick and roll more than any other team in the league, and they're not very good at it. That's the Cavaliers. That's what they do best. So their weaknesses against the top two teams in the East strengths is a bad matchup for them.
Yeah.
And the only way to fix it is personnel-wise. Can Mitchell Robinson make that much of a difference? I feel like that's a lot to put on a guy that is just trying to get back on the court. And that's the problem. Anunoby and his defense, Bridges, the two wings, they call them Wingstop here in New York, they have been really good at both ends of the floor. But that guy right there you're watching, and Mitchell Robinson, who can defend at three and help Karl-Anthony Towns out, that's important because for Karl-Anthony Towns, he was on a number one defense in Minnesota with Rudy Gobert as his center. Can they replicate that in New York? That's asking a lot.
Give you a final word, Monica, when you talk about that.
Hahn covered it.
No, because it sounds like he's talking
retweet.
about Cat being the alpha. You think Cat needs to be the alpha?
No, I don't, and I get it. Shout out to our terrific producers who work very hard in the show, but like I hate the alpha conversation. Like that's stupid to me. You got a point guard who runs the team, and Karl-Anthony Towns, when he joined the team, said that this is Jalen Brunson's team. Now, does that mean he can have a 40-20 night? Sure, like whatever. But I don't think we need to get into the minutia of who's alpha. I think this team understands its hierarchy very well.
Don't be a Sigma.
And let's just see.
Don't be.
And play some defense. Play some defense to get ridiculous.
Okay.
Monica,
Do it.
if I said the Warriors will win the NBA Finals, is that ridiculous?
Okay, so look, let me couch this. I do think it's ridiculous. I'm not going to completely rule it out. I don't know that Jimmy Butler moves the needle in the way the Warriors need the needle to be moved.
Easy
However,
for you to say.
One thing I will say is I trust Stephen Curry. And I think the urgency of this moment currently with the Warriors, if something spectacular and historic happened, I'd be fascinated. But right now in the net, they're not really impressive. It's 0.3. Their last championship run, they were plus 5.5.
Okay, how about SGA? MVP, is that ridiculous?
No, it is not. This is probably gonna be facts. I mean, come on, y'all. 32.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6.1 assists on 52% from the field. Not to mention, I just brought up the net when it came to the Warriors. Those guys are practically 13 points in the net. Like, they're the highest net rated team. Like, the differential is crazy. They have been able to be tremendously successful, and it is largely because of the play of this guy. His efficiency, to me, in terms of what he does, is the thing that really jumps off the track at his size.
Okay, Monica, how about the Mavs trade for AD? Is that already a disaster? Is that Louis Riddiculous?
I'm gonna go.
I said that with emotion.
I know this is a little too personal for you, VP. I'm gonna go with this one being ridiculous because hold on, man. I continue to say I am not one who jumps up and down in the first year of teams bringing stars together, especially with less than 30 games to go. I know he's hurt, but it's not just about AD being hurt. There's if you look at the injury report from the last game before All-Star break, there's 6 players on it for various reasons. It's not just AD that's hurt. I think you got to give this some time. So what they doing with Dallas Barbecue, you got to let it smoke, simmer. Give it a
Let it simmer. Let it simmer.
Give it a chance.
How about, look, we bring Harry in here.
No.
We bring Harry
You're in. I tagged you in.
Let's stay with this, though. Is the Mavericks trade already a failure?
How could it possibly be a failure? How many players did they play? 3?
Well,
can you? I'm with Monica. Give it time. You have to see it play out before you start calling something an absolute failure. There's no absolute here. Anthony Davis is not 40 years old at the end of his career. This is not Kwame Brown for Pau Gasol. This is a really good player who probably fits with Kyrie and the way they want to play a lot better.
But
and they don't have to pay him $350 million.
Championship. The man's hurt. He played 2 quarters.
Okay, again, is this his last season, or is he going to be back next year?
Got hurt.
There's no way this is a failure.
Right now, though.
Yes.
We talk about the duration of what Anthony Davis' contract is currently right now, how it's constructed. But when I looked at this team, when they went and played the Houston Rockets in that first game, and AD and Max Christie combined for 49 points, I said, whoo. I basically had right then and there the Dallas Mavericks going to the Western Conference Finals.
That was 2 quarters of that game. That was 2 quarters of the game.
But they were really good quarters.
I love Anthony Davis. You know that. I love Anthony Davis. But you guys always tell me your best ability is availability.
Yep.
He's never available. His nickname was Street Clothes.
Yeah,
you made a trade for a man, and he gave you a double-double in 2 quarters and got hurt. And now you don't even know when he's coming back.
That's true. And yes, you're dealing with that.
And you got rid of a generational talent, a 25-year-old
Hey, I got a headache. Can you stop
who
yelling?
has been one of the
Tell him.
best.
I want to hear the front office perspective
It's got to
on
be
this.
available. You got to be.
but that-
you know, hey, I saw that game too, and I was like, oh, AD's lighting it up.
He said,
And
"I'm
then-
here."
And then I saw him go like this, and then I was like, there it is.
He went
there
from,
it is.
he went from I'm here
There it is.
to I'm hurt.
But here's the thing. The moral of the story is that you
I'm out, by the
cannot
way.
decide who won and who lost the trade. We're not even 2 weeks post the trade right now.
You got to see it.
You got to let it simmer. You gotta
On
let it cook a little bit first.
paper, like I said, and what Monica said is also something you can't ignore. All their bigs are hurt. Lively
It ain't
and
just
Gafford
big.
are big pieces in this. Davis gets to play the 4, not the 5, which he doesn't like to play. When he's been healthy, the Lakers got to Western Conference Finals. They won a championship in the bubble. They have shown you that they can do great things with him. And with Kyrie and him, they have a better chance to win a championship than they would have with Kyrie and Luka.
I just want to point out your boy AD played 76 games last year.
Yes.
So
Never available, he said.
That
Never.
was last year.
Absolutely.
What we talking about for this?
Yeah.
Trades are based on future,
Yes.
right? Like I'm just saying,
Yes.
he's been available. He's
Yes.
growing in that category. You sweat, and somebody gets
we need to-
I'm
man
just
is
saying, AD has averaged 61 games a year in his career. Luka basically 70.
Right.
So he played. This is abnormal for Luka to be out this long with that calf.
But is that a trend starting to become a concern? That's what the Mavericks felt.
But it's been only the first year. How can you say a trend? It's
You
only
want to
been
get
the
ahead of a
first year.
trend like that because $350 million is a lot of money to pay a guy who's trending in the wrong direction.
You don't get healthier as you get older
Exactly.
either.
I'm just saying.
Usa.
Just let you
Anthony
know.
Davis has shown
You don't get healthier as you get older. Just so you know, as you get older, you get hurt more.
Get out of here.
exactly what
There's 2 ways to go, the easy way or the hard way.
This is the one-
And the
I would
easy
say
way
this
would have
for
been to
the
give him the
Mavs.
money and then let it just happen.
Kyrie Irving, just hold the fort down right now.
I was going there too.
Don't be knocked out of the play-in situation. Hold the fort
won't.
down,
They
Klay
won't.
Thompson, Spencer Dinwiddie, so you can get to the playoffs when guys are back healthy.
Everybody settle down. This is
All right.
going to be
We'll
all
see.
right.